A letter from the IDA, go somewhere else to find out how much money they're actually not getting. Then we have to do research on that. They refer to some appendixes and stuff that wasn't there. Concerns me. Exactly.
Calling for two.
Yeah.
This is too late.
Oh, I need a bullet too.
Yeah, good, because that just seems kind of
Oh,
crazy.
so when I'm too late, I gotta- So as long as you like spicy chili.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
My
then
dad.
Yeah,
then
it should be beneficial. So
Some
it's some way,
peppers.
it should just all be. Start to develop.
Sabrina,
That's a couple
everybody
words
has
gotta
had,
be-
was it a really?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're real simple.
Mhm.
Sir.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Just a quick update that we did call our meeting to order at 5:55. We did the Pledge of Allegiance and the roll call. Both Mr. Leibel and Ms. Pataglia are excused this evening. So I guess at this time, I want to turn the meeting over to Mr. Feldman for our budget hearing and meet the candidates with my agenda. Right?
Are you sure?
Right.
Yep.
Okay, good evening, everybody. This formalizes our 2026-2027 budget hearing. We'll start with the budget hearing, answer any questions that the board or anybody in the audience might have with regards to the budget that was approved by our Board of Education on Tuesday, April 21st. And then we'll move into our Meet the Candidates night with our two board member candidates. So this just presents as a snapshot of the 2026 budget. The budget is $108,608,147. It falls under the state imposed property tax cap of 3.3%. We actually meet it right at it at 3.3% as our proposed tax levy increase is 3.3% from this year to next. The budget does maintain our annual school bus purchases. We will look to purchase, pending a voter approval on May 19th, 10 new buses for 26-27, including 4 electric buses. And those 4 electric buses, as we detailed throughout the budget process, are being purchased with the help of funding from both the state, NYSERDA in particular, and the federal government, the EPA program from that end of things. So we are getting $300,000 in funding for each of those electric buses to help bring those costs under that of a similar sized diesel bus. And then lastly, the budget does maintain a $100,000 capital outlay project, which for us, again, pending voter approval on May 19th, will include replacement of doors at the high school athletic area, as well as the high school pool starting blocks. That's a $100,000 capital outlay project. So again, the proposed budget for 26-27 is $108,608,147. Compared to that of this year, our budget is for 25-26 is $105,576,012. a budget to budget increase of $3,032,135, and a percentage increase of 2.87%. So as part of the budget hearing, we are required to present the budget in three parts, and those three parts are administrative, program, and capital. When our public sees our Sweet Home Source magazine that's going to be mailed home later this week, they'll see the budget presented this way. The administrative component includes budgetary expenditures inside of the superintendent's office, work with staff development, work in curriculum, and salaries and benefits for all of our administrative team and supervisory team. And then the program portion of the budget is really anything that supports students, including teachers, counselors, transportation, and including benefits for all of those folks. And then lastly, the capital portion of the budget is particularly surrounds our buildings and grounds department, our maintenance department, utilities and expenses related to those, and then most notably debt service and all of the debt service that the district carries from year to year. So for us, going forward, the three-part budget, you'll see kind of the breakdown and the comparison year over year. The administrative component for the 26-27 budget amounts to $8,566,267. The program portion of the budget amounts to $82,137,674. And then the capital component represents $17,904,207. So this, while it's probably difficult to read from your seats, but this does represent just kind of a year over year comparison in terms of percentage of all three components of the budget. For the 26-27 year, the administrative portion of the budget makes up 7.9%. The program budget makes up 75.6%, and the capital budget makes up 16.5%, which are exactly the percentages that made up this year's budget, the 25-26 budget. So we remain consistent over the two budgetary years. On the revenue side of the budget, again, of $108,608,147 budget, you'll see the chart on the right-hand side, kind of the major factors that go into building the revenue side of the budget. Our real property taxes make up 51.8% of our revenue side of the budget. State aid makes up 37%. The use of reserves and fund balance, assigned fund balance, is 2.3%. You'll notice that the debt service for this year, I wanted to make a note of it, is 0%. We did have a debt service reserve that, if you remember back in 2021, when the New York State Comptroller's audit came out, one of the things that we got dinged on was the use of that debt service reserve. And we refuted that finding in that we had a plan to spend down the debt service reserve. And this current budgetary year, 25-26, that reserve will be exhausted. So that will not play into a factor for next year. And then from the remainder of the revenue side of the budget, sales tax makes up 5.3%, and kind of the all-encompassing other line, pilots, tuitions, interest, et cetera, makes up about 3.6%. Just again, on the left-hand side, year over year, we did see about a $1.18 million increase in foundation and expense-driven aids. That's total aid across all categories. We did increase from the current budgetary year, we did increase our sales tax projections by $350,000. As I mentioned, the debt service reserve is not a revenue that we will be using going forward. And then again, in the governor's executive proposal, now again, it is May 5th today, the New York State the government has, I think, filed 7 different extenders to this point to kind of work through the budgetary process. So we do not have a budget state budget as we sit here today. But in the governor's executive proposal, she did propose $690,000 in additional UPK funding from the 25-26 school year that we are booking as revenue. This is the obligatory pie chart of the revenue so that you can see the two big nuggets there are the real property tax chunk of 51.8% and the state aid chunk of 37%. And then the proposed tax levy, which is that 51% nugget that we talked about. We are proposing a tax levy that is 3.3%. That equates to $56,283,605, which is a year-over-year tax levy increase of $1.796 million. Again, 3.3% increase. It falls within the New York State tax cap legislation, which means that in 2 weeks from today, the district only needs a simple majority for our budget to pass. And then this provides kind of just a snapshot of what a tax bill might look like for our residents. So again, I always make this caveat that we use assessment values from the current school year, 2025, because we don't have assessment values for 2026. We don't get those generally until early August. We kept the Amherst equalization rate the same at 99%. We did keep the Tonawanda equalization rate at 21%. And then we did increase the overall tax levy to $56,283,605. So with that said, that would translate to a tax rate of $10.01 per thousand on the Amherst side. So we use a $250,000 assessed value home as our kind of average home. So on a $250,000 assessed value home, that tax bill would translate to $2,477, which would be a year-over-year increase of $79. On the Tonawanda side, it would translate to a tax rate per thousand of $47.30. A tax bill on a similarly $250,000 assessed value home of $2,483, also a year-over-year increase of $79. I would expect, the question was asked back in April, obviously we would expect that assessment values would rise, which would impact this, and the increase is likely to be lower than what we're projecting now. So in 2 weeks, you'll see three things. Voters will see three things on the ballot that they will cast a yes or no vote for. The first is the proposition on the budget. It would be to seek approval of the 26-27 budget, again of $108,608,147. Again, it represents a budgetary increase of 2.87%, as well as a tax levy increase of 3.3% over the current year. The second proposition will be the use of general funds to extend approval to use the general funds to extend the Maplemere temporary classroom lease through October 31st, 2028. And that would allow, if it does become a positive vote, that would allow the district to expend $52,920 over the next two budgetary years, so $26,000 and change each of the years, to maintain the temporary classrooms on the Maplemere campus. This will time out such that we hope that the sixth classroom addition as part of the recently approved capital project, that those classrooms will be done and such that we can move into those areas and remove the Maplemere temporary classrooms from the Maplemere campus. And then the last proposition on the ballot rather, would be an election of one Board of Education member. The term of Mr. Belanti does expire on June 30th, 2026. And we do have two candidates. Mr. Belanti is seeking re-election, and Jessica Stevens, who's here, is also seeking election to that seat. And we'll hear from both of them in just a minute. So Again, just and to wrap up, the budget vote does take place on Tuesday, May 19th, right here in Virgil Center, from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. You must be 18 years of age to vote and a resident of the district for at least 30 days prior to voting. So with that, I would open it up to any questions that the board might have regarding the budget.
I'll ask one if I could.
Sure.
And I know a few of us attended a meeting on Saturday morning about legislative team meeting, talking about the state budget primarily. Two of our state senators, I believe, spoke to us.
Yes.
And so they believe that within a week or two, that will be decided, we'll have a budget. What if that budget takes away or adds to some of our projections? Is that something that can be adjusted, even though the board's already?
That's a good question. So if something were to be taken away, obviously we are at a balanced budget state right now. If something were to be taken away in terms of our revenue stream, that would come at the expense of something else in the budget. Now, that said, we've heard to this in the governor's executive proposal, she proposed a 1.5% increase in foundation aid to Sweet Home. I've heard in my business office circles, Mike has heard, Dr. Jester has heard in his superintendent circles, and we heard it Saturday, that they believe that it'll be closer to 2% in terms of foundation aid, which for us is about additional $120,000. We booked, if you remember, we did book a foundation aid increase of 2% based upon that. So now if we get a windfall of money, that's great. With the revenue coming in, it could potentially at year end, if our revenues outpace our expenses, it could be something that we could put into reserves.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Any questions from the audience regarding the budget? Okay, that moves us to meet the candidates night. So I would ask that the board come and sit in the audience. Mr. Belmonte can stay there. Ms. Stevens, if you could have a seat somewhere up there, and we'll kick off the festivities.
Yes, you can go here.
You're welcome.
She will take the empty seat. You're good there?
I'm good, Sherry.
All right. Good for you.
No, hey, you say hello to everybody. That's okay. We're just on camera. Okay, welcome everybody to the 2026 Board of Education Meet the Candidates Night. We do have two candidates that are vying for, one seat on the Board of Education as Mr. Belmonte's term does expire. So Mr. Belmonte is seeking re-election. Jessica Stevens is his opposition. So what I thought we could do is we did solicit questions from the community to the Board of Education website. We did have one question that was submitted, so I'll ask that question, but I'll allow you each to kind of just give a brief statement about why you're running. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll just kind of alternate. Ms. Stevens, because you are number one on the ballot, I'm going to start with you first, and we'll just kind of alternate back and forth. So Jessica, have a way.
So I did write about a page and a half.
That's
Is
fine.
that- Okay.
That's fine.
So hello, allow me to introduce myself, and to those who already know me, allow me to tell you a little bit more about myself and why I am running for the Board of Education. I'm Jessica Stevens, and I'm a mom to two children in the Sweet Home District, including a daughter in middle school and a daughter in high school. Ever since my oldest daughter entered pre-K, I have tried my best to be involved with the district, volunteering whenever and however I could. I started by serving on the Willow Ridge PTO for several years in roles that included treasurer, membership, and president. Later as a parent representative on the Willow Ridge Building Leadership Team, and then on the Remote Academy building leadership team during the COVID pandemic. I served on a subcommittee for the district's 2021 reopening plan and the June 2021 reopening committee. I served on the Sweet Home Education Foundation, the chef board. I've always felt the need and responsibility to do all that I can to ensure that both my children and all the children in the district are receiving the best education that we are able to provide. I ran for Board of Ed in the past, I believe 4 years ago, and I've been considering running again ever since. It was a recent proposal to significantly cut the arts program at the high school. That was the final push for me to run this year. I believe the biggest challenges facing the district right now boil down to two things. Number one is relationships between administration and the teachers. And number two are the budget cuts, including the unknowns associated with at the federal and state level. While I don't claim to have a magical solution to either of these challenges, I do hope that a fresh set of eyes on these issues and my past experiences will help us navigate current and unforeseen challenges that arise during my term on the Board of Ed. I think we first need to acknowledge that there is a communication problem in our district. Our teachers feel like their voices and concerns are not being heard, and I'm sure there's much going on behind the scenes. On top of this, parents feel like their concerns go unheard and at times not properly addressed. I know that this is easier to say than to put into action, but I hope to rise to the challenge and help mend relationships in our district. I hope to be part of the solution. So I come to the table with a positive attitude, willing to work with all parties to mend these relationships, which is a critical step to take on the next problem, which is the budget. The budget is a major source of contention, the root of many of the problems in our district. Class sizes are increasing, opportunities for students are being limited. It's easy to say that we're going to save every program and keep class sizes small, but if we plan to do all of this, the money has to come from somewhere. I do not believe the answer to this is to increase the tax burden on residents, and I think that's something that we've been historically pretty good about. While some class sizes might need to increase, I strongly believe that at a minimum, the kindergarten to third grade classes should remain small. And I also do not want to see any cuts being made to athletics, music, or art programs. I do believe that those are very important parts of every student's education, and for many, a starting point for their careers. So there's simply no easy answer here, and I'm going to kind of cut this short. I apologize. Anybody who thinks that it is an easy answer, though, does not understand the magnitude of the problem. So to summarize what's important to me, I hope to be a voice for the only stakeholders in the district without a vote, and that's our students. I promise to do my best and to be a voice and vote for teachers, parents, service workers, and all students. I believe that athletics, music, and art are important parts of students' education. I believe class sizes should not increase, especially at the K-3 levels. While technology is an important part of our students' education, I believe there needs to be a healthy balance between traditional writing, learning, and technology-aided curriculum and homework. I believe the relationships between teachers and administration need to be mended. I want everyone to feel that their voices are being heard. We may disagree, but it's important to have a voice and to be heard. There needs to be a lot more transparency and better communication. And also, we need to be asking the students and community what's important to them. We are supposed to represent the stakeholders in the district and not just our own interests. So I think it's important to have continuous, open communication with all of our stakeholders. I believe I come to the table with an open mind and a positive but realistic attitude to help make changes in our schools. I believe I can help mend these relationships, work with everyone, push for better communication, transparency. When I'm dedicated to a project, I do everything I can to see it through. I want to work for our students because we all make time for the things that are most important to us. And I will put into this project the same passion I've put into every project I've ever started. I'm here to listen and to make sure your voice is heard. And I apologize if that was too long. Pete.
Thank you. Mr. Belanti.
Thank you very much. That was a very good speech, Jessica. So my name is Peter Belanti. I am seeking re-election this year. A little bit about myself. I am a 20+ year special education social studies teacher. Excuse me. I am a father of two. My son graduated last year from Sweet Home and as part of the civic readiness pathways. And my daughter is currently a freshman at the high school. I concur with my
Jessica.
Jessica.
That's fine.
I concur with Jessica in that my kids have been involved in music, art, and athletics in the schools, and I would not want to see anything happen to those programs. As an educator, I am well versed in the new nuances and the new mandates that are coming down from New York State, which include the Pathways to Graduation, the Portrait of a Graduate, the new STEPS program that's coming out with APPR and teacher evaluation systems, and budgetary issues with foundation aid and stuff like that. As part of the board, you know, I kind of, when I came in 5 years ago, was thrown right into the actual planning of that capital project that was passed in December. And I spent a good portion of my 5 years working on and getting that done. I would like, and it is our largest capital project ever. One of the reasons I want to run is because I want to see the follow through and the completion of that. I know over the past 5 years, there have been some not so popular decisions that have come from the board. Specifically, two examples are the walking and the art program that Jessica alluded to. But I think that the board worked together with administration and we listened to our constituents, and we did change the start times, but we did remove the walking proposal from that, and we did reinstitute the art programs that were originally not taken away, but proposed to be diminished. As for the communication part of this, I agree that there is some lack of or disconnection in communication. Members of the board have worked with members of SHE over the last year to try and address those. We have agreed that those meetings would be confidential, so I do not want to speak on them, but that those meetings have taken place. And I think we have worked with our district office to try and improve our communication. I know Dr. Genestri now puts out a bi-weekly update to faculty and staff along with his weekly update to the community. And there is still work to be done. There's always going to be work to be done on that, especially next year. We're going to have a very major leadership change. Dr. Wilson is retiring, so we're going to have a new assistant superintendent of instruction. Mr. Lucenti, who is our interim principal at the high school, is also, I think, retiring from education as a whole. And so Ms. Daria is going to move up from the middle school to the high school, which leaves an opening at the middle school. So yes, there's going to be leadership changes at our middle school, at our high school, and in the district office. And that needs to be, that is going to help influence and dictate the communication that needs to be done. I would, love to work with Ms. Bellaleri, who's going to be the new assistant superintendent, Ms. Daria, the new principal, and whomever may be the new principal at the middle school to do that. And, that is a primary goal over the next 5 years, along with the capital project and, working on the budget. And, I've been on the board for 5 years, but really have only approved 4 budgets because the first one was already approved when I stepped on. And I believe in totality, maybe we've had a 10% over the last 4 years, and probably even less than 5 maybe, We did, my first year that we were on, we had a zero neutral budget. And then I think we only went up like 1 or 2%. But with the educational climate, both at the federal and state level, we are at that point now where we're looking at increasing our budgets and where we're going to stand on that. So.
Thank you, Mr. Belanti. I do have one question that came in, again, just for the good of the audience and maybe those listening at home. We did solicit information via our website to ask folks that maybe couldn't be in attendance if they wanted to ask a question of our Board of Education candidates. So we did have one that came into the Board of Education email address. And we'll start with you, Mr. Belanti. This question comes in from someone by the name of Becca S., last initial S. And she says, here's my question. One candidate is a teacher and the other is endorsed by the teachers union. Given that the teacher contract will be renegotiated soon and the recent budget challenges, there is growing public sentiment that the current compensation and benefits for staff may already be at the high end, and further increases will only further strain taxpayers. How will you be objective as a member of the board so that the district is fiscally responsible and fair to the public to prevent another contract that is not in line with economic realities that face most families in the district?
Hey, well, thank you for the question. Yes, I am a teacher. I work for Erie One BOCES. So I understand the plight of the budget and where the teachers are. I do feel that teachers should be compensated for the work that they do. But it also does have to work within our budget. We cannot look at exorbitant raises. We have to work fairly with them, obviously. We do not want to discredit the work that they do. And that's something that is going to be probably a process, maybe a difficult process with the negotiations. I know a couple of years ago, the contract negotiations were a little heated at times. And in the end, I think both the district and the teachers came to an understanding that was beneficial to both parties on that. To say, though, that just because I'm a teacher, that I'm going to bend over for teachers and a contract and everything, that is not the case. You have to remember that we are a board of 7. And while we do not sit on the negotiation part of it, we do get updates from the district office and on what is going on, and we counsel or advise district office on where we can on their negotiations and where the under the advisement of our finance department on what is best and what would work best for the district. But ideally, negotiations are hard, but ideally we would get into a place that is beneficial for both sides, both the district and the teachers, that is not a financial misstep or puts us in a more financial burden than we already are in.
Thank you. Ms. Stevens, would you like me to read the question again?
I would, thank you.
Sure. So this again comes from Becca S. Here's my question. One candidate is a teacher and the other is endorsed by the teachers' union. Given that the teacher contract will be renegotiated soon and the recent budget challenges, there is growing public sentiment that the current compensation and benefits for staff may already be at the high end, and further increases will only further strain taxpayers. How will you be objective as a member of the board so that the district is fiscally responsible and fair to the public to prevent another contract that is not in line with economic realities that faced most families in the district?
Thank you.
Sure.
First of all, I really do like this question, and hello to everybody watching on YouTube. I really appreciate being endorsed by Shay. I want to start with. When it comes to salaries and budget and how we spend the budget, I think it's important to retain the talent that we already have. I think it's important that everybody gets paid fairly. I mean, that's just, a good business decision. You want people to stick around, you have to pay them appropriately. I also understand and respect that the budget limitations might not allow for the kind of freedom that we might have had in the past to do so. It's a tough question. If I am understanding the question correctly, Becca, you're asking if I might, because of my connection with Shay or endorsement with Shay, that I might lean too much on the teacher side. If I'm that I might be willing to give too much to the teachers, I believe is Becca's concern. And I want to let you know that I'm here to represent all stakeholders. I'm not here to represent myself. I'm not here to represent just my children. I'm here to represent all stakeholders, and I'm working for the children. So at the end of the day, every decision that I make and every decision that we make, again, as Mr. Belante mentioned, we're a board of 7. So not one person doesn't make these decisions, 7 do. Everything for me is going to boil down to what is best for the students. What is best for the students today? What is best for the students tomorrow? And I mean, that's really just, well, that's what we're all here for. We're all, at the end of the day, we're all here for the same reason. And I think we end up having a lot more in common than we do differences. So that's what's going to guide my decision and my voice as one of the 7 on the board.
Okay, thank you. At this moment, I would open it up to anybody in the audience that might have a question if they'd like to step forward. Jonathan? And before Jonathan speaks, what we'll do, we'll just kind of rearrange the order. So Ms. Stevens, you'll go first this time.
Sure.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Magley. My question has to do with the matter of the needs of students. As you all know, we have a diverse body of students with varying educational and support needs, the meaning which is very much important for their educational and personal growth and their opportunities to learn. So I'd like to ask what you as a board member would seek to do in order to help support the needs of students within the district.
Thank you for your question, Jonathan. Again, I think it goes back to the same answer that I gave. What's best for the students? I think that it's really important that we have strong programs in place that are currently already in place, and we should be supporting more of those programs. I mean, look, I forget the exact numbers, but we have a couple dozen different languages spoken in this district, and we have students with all different kinds of needs and talents as well. And I think every single one of them need to be explored and I do think generally speaking, Sweet Home does provide really good services for all of our students. However, I'm here to listen. So I want to know what you would like to see in increase. And again, you know, I mean, you and the general you. Tell us what you would like. Tell us where we're lacking. And that's our job, is to hear and to do better, learn better, do better, be better. Did I fully answer your question, Jonathan, or is
Lisa?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Mr. Bellanti, same question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jonathan. You know, this is what I do, right? I'm a special education teacher. I do want to see all of our students succeed. We are here for the students. Difficult for me to say this because it kind of like goes against my job. But I do like bringing our services in-house, back to the district. We are hiring 2 new elementary special ed rooms that we're opening, 2 811 rooms. We're also bringing in our own therapists, right? Rather than contracting them out, we're going to have therapists that are actually employed by the district, working for the district, here for the district to help meet the needs of our student. We're not going to be at the mercy of an agency to send people to us. So we're going to be able to hire them. So I like bringing more stuff into the buildings that we can look at and work with our students, our own students. And I think that that's important. The increase in that special ed need to have our students in our own buildings to do that, and to have our therapies there, working with Sweet Home faculty and staff that are in it for the same reason, for the improvement and the betterment of our students. I think that's a major step in doing that. And again, you know, we receive a lot of communications from parents about needs not being met and everything. You know, and we strive for excellence. We're not always perfect. There are sometimes things slip through the cracks, and maybe we don't have the ability to work with certain students. And when we do have to look for outside, but in saying that, we have to find the best placements for those students, whether it's in-house, out-of-house, and that, but I would love to keep everything in-house and bring more students back into our buildings. I think that the capital project and the additions with our STEM programming and STEM rooms and that are going into at Maplemere are going to help tremendously with all of our students, not just our special needs students. And that's kind of how I feel on that. You know, bring more in-house, let our teachers and our staff members work with our students. It's a lot easier to access one of our teachers as a parent than it is to go to a BOCES teacher or an Aspire teacher or an ARC teacher where your student may be placed. So that would be my answer for your question. I hope I answered that.
Yeah, thank you both for your answers.
Thank you, Mr. Bellanti.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Mr. Ryan? We'll start. Mr. Bellanti, you're up first.
Thank you.
Good evening. Many of our neighboring districts, such as Williamsville, North Tonawanda, Amherst, Cleve Hill, Kenmore, Town of Tonawanda, and Niagara Wheatfield, have adopted shorter Board of Education terms of 3 years. Would you support a reduction of our district's board members' terms from 5 to 3 years? Why or why not? And what factors would guide your decision?
I would support 3 years. I've actually had conversations with the superintendent and other board members about being 3 years. 5 years is a long time. You're seeking a second term, which I am, that's 10 years. I'm not quite where my colleagues are. But I think that I believe that the 5 years turns strong candidates away. I think 3 years would help a candidate pool. You can say that, yes, well, the 3 years, by the time you get your feet wet, you're up for reelection again. And I understand that point of view. But I think that the candidate base, I think people look at the 5 years and say, that's a very long time. And you might only get one-termers or people who, life changes. And in 5 years, and sometimes it's hard to hang on. We did have somebody, in that position a couple of years ago that was on the board that there was a life change and they had to resign from the board. But a 3-year term, I think people can work through that 3-year limit and go from there. And I think it would expand our pool a lot. A lot of people that I've talked to who are interested in running, that's the common answer. 5 years. I can't do 5 years. So I would be in support of it. And again, I have had conversations with other board members and the superintendent about moving down, making a proposal for it. I think it would be a change in policy. So it's not an easy undertaking to do, but it is something that we could definitely look at.
Thank you.
Ms. Stevens?
Thank you. Regarding this question, I can see both sides of the argument of keeping the 5 years. Mr. Belante kind of touched on both sides of this, and so I won't repeat it, but I do see the benefit of when you get your feet wet, it takes a little bit of time to really get into to really understand your role. So right when you're starting to really understand things, the 3 years is up. And on the other side, 5 years might be too long of a term where it does turn people away because it is so much of a commitment. So I see both sides of this. And again, I believe my opinion on this shouldn't matter. I believe the opinion of the stakeholders on this is where we should be asking this question. Let's put that question out to the community. Let's see what you think. Again, you and the general you. And let's make it, let's talk about it. Because it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what we all think, what the stakeholders.
Thank you
So,
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Any other questions from the audience? You are? You are? Nope, you have to come to the
I actually kind of like it over here. It's a nice change of pace. Hi.
I like it here.
So, oh my gosh, I just forgot what I was going to ask. Like it was here and then it was gone. Darn it. I know what it was. Okay. So we have a very passionate, vocal community that has a lot to say about a lot of what we do every week. My question is basically, how will you handle that? Because what ends up happening is you get the emails, the phone calls, the text messages, the social media posts. Peter mentioned it. Sometimes the things that we have to vote on or decide on, whether we are unanimous in it or not, are not well received for whatever reasons. You will have the ability as a board member to kind of peek behind the curtain and understand the full picture that we're not always allowed to share with the community. And sometimes that is very hard. How will you handle that?
Me specifically.
Well, I think
And-
who's
Yeah,
up
we'll
first?
you're up first.
You're up
So
first.
we'll let
Okay.
Ms.
Yeah.
Stevens go first and then Mr. Belante afterwards.
I think I've always done a pretty good job in my life of kind of, I'm not going to say the word right.
Compartmentalizing.
My apologies. I actually have a speech impediment. Different areas of my life. So on the board, once I fully understand what I can and cannot share, I have high respect for that. That's very important. I could do that. As far as information that is brought to me, forward it on to all board members. This is communication that needs to be shared. As far as social media, if I'm elected Board of Education, social media for me will become personal. I'm out of any group that I'm part of that might be related to the district. That'll be more personal. And so that shouldn't affect me. Get calls, emails. I am here to listen. That's my job. That's our job. I'm here to listen. I'm here to document, and I'm here to pass that information along. I think it's very important to be heard. I also believe that it's very important for parents, teachers, stakeholders to be able to voice concerns anonymously as well, because I know that there's might be a fear of retribution. So I think that it's also important to have a way, you know, for identities to be concealed. But I have thick skin, so every decision is not going to come down to, it's going to come down to what's best for our students. After that, what does the community want?
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Mr. Belanti.
So for the past 5 years, I have received emails, seen posts that were forwarded to me. I'm not a very big social media guy. My social media is limited to kind of like sports talk show guys that I get information on. I don't see a lot of that. It is passed along to me by board members that I read. And I think it's important that that when those do come in, that they're not kind of fluffed off. We do read everyone. We discuss a lot of them. We reply as a group to them. And you know, it's not an easy chair to sit in, any of the seven of us. There's always a group or portion of our community that does not like decisions that we have to make. And we have to make a lot of tough decisions. So again, and you know, we are elected, we are volunteers, and we are here doing our best for the district and our students and our staff and faculty and staff. And it's not the easiest job in the world, I will say that. But you know, you have to keep moving on, and we have to, you know, consensus make the right decisions. And we've had some, you know, as best as I could say, heated discussions in amongst ourselves about things and where we are going. But in the end, as you know, Ms. Stevens keeps saying, we're here for the students of the district and make everything the best that we can for them, with the best staff that we can have, the best equipment we can have, the most opportunities that we can give them. A lot of times, you know, you do have to have thick skin to be up here. You know, and we've had heated discussions even on the floor that come to us. And, you know, while, you know, the hardest thing is to sit here and not be able to say anything back, and not say anything back, but answer or, you know, ask a redirect type question, because it is our policy that when people do get up to the mic and speak during open sessions, that the board gathers the information, and then either the board president or the superintendent, most of the time the superintendent, reaches out and talks to the people that have spoken. But you do have to be able to sit here and be, you know, stoic and have thick skin to listen to people. I mean, it happened even a couple of weeks ago, right? When we had 12 speakers on the art program. And, you know, so amongst the plethora of emails that we received from alumni but part of we don't have to just listen to people talking to us. It's listening through the social media, the emails, and the voices that they come in and help us guide to see where the community stands.
Thank
I
you.
hope I
Thank you,
answered
Ms.
your question.
Yep. Thanks, Mr. Belanti. Ms. Anton, thank you. Anybody else? Paul?
Good evening, Paul Simondera. I appreciate the board providing the opportunity for public expression and to offer some questions. I'd be remiss if I didn't say Happy Teacher Appreciation Week to our friends out in YouTube land. Our PTAs were fantastic throughout the entire district, putting on just really, really great environments all week long, frankly. So I'm grateful for that. But I'm grateful to all our school board members. It takes a lot to volunteer, to put up. A 5-year term, to the point of the question, is a long one. And it's a thankless job. So regardless where we might fall on decisions and topics and opinions, I am grateful to all of the people who have served in the past, who continue to serve, and for those people who might be interested in serving, because it's about that interest in being a part of our school board. So I'm grateful to all of our school board members. My question, however, goes to Peter as an incumbent. And the question is around the year's experience in basically the most recent 5 years for your term. So I'll offer this. Over the past several years, there have been multiple instances where educator input did not appear to influence yours or the board's decision, including the results of the superintendent search in 2021, the dismantling of teacher workspaces and those changes that led to litigation in 2022, delayed contract negotiations in 2023, the vote of no confidence in 2025. How do you reflect on that pattern? And what specifically would you do in a different or do differently in a new term to ensure that educator voices meaningfully shape outcomes? Or perhaps, what evidence can you point to that your efforts around teacher voice have been effective? Thank you.
Well, I thank you for that question. I will say this, that there have been some instances, those instances that you mentioned over the years. A lot of the stuff, I will say, unfortunately, and I don't want to try to hide behind this, but they are executive session discussions where my voice was made one way or the other. I'm not going to delve deep into that. But then consensus from the board, it dictated to where we went. I have my own personal opinions on every single one of those matters. I will say that if I want to break each one of them down, the district office or the office staff room thing, I want to say I was on the board for like 3 months when that happened. The negotiations, the vote of no confidence were discussed at length within the board. I can't say that every decision, decisions you've mentioned, the decisions were not well liked, but I can't say that your voices weren't heard or discussed or meaningful to me personally. I've listened to everything. I've broken everything down. But again, I am one of 7. Okay. I'm not trying to push blame onto anybody. But unfortunately, in a lot of these instances, because of the when and where those discussions took place, I just simply cannot violate the executive session and say where I spoke up, where I didn't speak up. It's unfortunate that I can't do that. I don't want to hide behind it, but I also don't want to be put in a place where I have to be removed from the board for breaking policy. So I guess that's the best answer that I can give you, is that I have heard and read everything that came through. The decisions that were made were a consensus of the board. Again, one voice out of seven, consensus of the board on everything. I have my opinions on how things, and have voiced my opinions in executive session on how I feel things went, or should have went. But unfortunately, I think that's the best way that I can answer that question. I just simply cannot. And again, it looks like, and it probably feels like I'm hiding behind this, but I simply cannot express a lot of the discussions that we've had and the opinions that I have voiced to my fellow board members and the district office. So I apologize for that, but I simply can't do that.
Okay. I don't think I could dialogue necessarily, but I think that's exactly it. We lack such communication. And in the past year, this is the most you've said about any of these topics, which is, it's an executive, and that's fine that it's an
I mean,
executive,
Paul,
but at
we
least that's a
had a 3-hour
communication.
conversation in
So I
February.
appreciate that. Thank you.
We did meet for 3 hours in February.
Any, Javon, you have a question? Come on up.
Hi, specifically for you, Ms. Steffens. So obviously coming from a student perspective, I wouldn't want students to be harmed as well with anything like the cuts to music and arts. And I know you mentioned that in the beginning. So I was just wondering, like, what do you personally feel should have been done, or like a better alternative option instead of to close the gap instead of making cuts that affect students?
Thank you for your question. I don't think it ever should have gotten to the point that we had that much of the art program proposed to be cut. I think somewhere along the way, somebody should have said, no, we cannot do this. We can't solely target the art program and take away the AP art, the, man, I can't remember all, please excuse me. I don't have my notes in front of me. I forget the classes that were on the cutting board, but I believe it was 2 entire classes. And then on top of that, reduced additional periods for the other remaining art programs. I can't believe that it got so far that we needed the community to come out and speak. I just think somewhere along the way, somebody should have said, stop, we need to relook at everything. To answer the other part of the question though is, okay, we're gonna save it, how, right? The how is the difficult part. I don't have an answer for that. I don't. But I do believe that if we have to make cuts, we need to make cuts equally and not just attack arts, music, athletics, math, whatever. We need to save what we have.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, or do you
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
follow-up?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your
Thanks,
question.
Javon. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, well, we wish both Mr. Belmonte and Ms. Stevens luck. Again, the Board of Election budget vote, as well as the Board of Election seat vote, will take place on Tuesday, May 19th, from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. All of the information is on our district website at sweethomeschools.org. And next week in Homes will be our budget Sweet Home Source newsletter. So you'll have all the information there. And again, budget vote and Board of Election vote does take place Tuesday, May 19th from 7 to 9. So with that, I thank you both. Thank the audience for their participation. And then would just ask Ms. Stevens to take her seat back in the audience and our board to come back up to resume our regularly scheduled programming.
But I really like the seat, by the way.
All right.
A nice weather day.
He's good. Dad's
We'll
good.
spend a lot of
so
time that day.
He's good.
Yes, we'll really get to know each other.
Okay, he's a little nervous right now, but he's good. He's good. Thank you for checking in. I appreciate that.
Yeah, sorry, Scott.
Sorry, Scott. Yeah, all the iPads in here.
We have to go through.
Squeeze it down a little bit.
Superintendent
Okay.
Report.
Are you?
So.
Peter, you want a motion to talk about 3-year terms? Just- I could just, if you don't mind, I was just saying to Jim,
That is something that we can certainly discuss.
thank you.
All right, so moving on with our regularly scheduled meeting. So the approval of the agenda, does anybody have any comments? We'll be voting on this next week. Okay, minutes of the previous meeting, does anyone have any comments from the previous meeting notes? We will be voting on them again next week. No questions there. Communications, we did get a letter from the Amherst IDA on April 28th, 2026 about, I believe it's the not Station 12, Boulevard Mall proposal. And I know you attended the stakeholder meeting on that, so.
Yeah, we did meet,
Or-
Dr. Janestri and I met with Dave Mangoya from the Amherst IDA, as well as a representative, Laura, and her last name's gonna escape me, from the supervisor's office, about kind of plans for the Boulevard Mall. And we hope to have them back sometime over the summertime to provide the board an update as to where we are with that, and kind of plans for the area, as well as how it will impact our tax base and potentially a PIF agreement again, so.
Yeah, we're excited. We were informed that when the eminent domain goes through, that the project is ready to go. The papers have been signed, and I think we're going to see movement in the next year on the property, which is severely dipped in value, which is not good for the school district since it's pretty much gone vacant. Redevelopment there is going to be hugely important for our tax base here at Sweet Home. So we're fully behind the project. We're excited, and I want to thank the supervisor and the IDA for being very communicative with us and where the process is at, but also including the district in these discussions and negotiating with us on things that could benefit for us. So we're moving forward. We're excited about it. It's going to raise the value of that property tremendously over the next 10 years, and it could only be good for us. So we're excited.
When you talked with them, what'd they say about Costco?
Costco, August is what we're hearing.
August?
so-
Raising Cane's, Marianne, Raising Cane's.
I can tell you, Marianne, I have 2 boys. We go to Dick's quite a bit, and I'm monitoring the progress of the Costco as we,
Maybe a trip to
yeah, both in
Rochester.
sports, and so.
August, so we'll make sure that you're part of the ribbon cutting ceremony.
Ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
And just a question, shovels in the ground anticipated?
Well, I think demolition is probably going to take place at the end, either early 27 or late 26, depending on when this eminent domain goes through the courts, which they're feeling very positive about. Hopefully get a ruling soon, but we were told once that happens, it's a go. So we'll see demolition start soon.
It's exciting. Plans are exciting from that end of things. And, to Dr. Janestri's point, they estimate a rough estimate of retail assessed value of about $62 million, which will be helpful to the school district. And then same on the residential side from that end of things too, that we would kind of talk about some PIFs and things like that. With that could benefit other areas of the school district as well.
Let me ask a question. I read through here and I looked on the map where 330 Maple Road was.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was the old gun shooting range. That's
It
not
is.
what that
That
is.
is that what's on the agenda is the 330?
Yes,
Is that
that's
what
the,
it is?
that's the letter from the.
Oh,
ID.
okay,
that's
sorry,
the
I didn't
sports.
see the agenda.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. Well, we've met on both. So the 330 gun range, that's the proposal for the sports complex on Maple Road, just inside of our district boundaries. There's a group from UBMD. I wanted to say another group, but I couldn't remember, but
Same, that
UBMD.
one was a 716.
That is gonna build us a multi kind of sports complex over there.
Like an
Um,
indoor
and they-
track? Do you
Say
have,
again?
do you
Yes.
have
An
any
indoor track.
description of what it is?
Yeah,
I mean,
indoor
that's-
track and then indoor other multi-sports areas, as well as, they were in front of the IDA over spring break and I was in attendance. They're seeking to, get some help on tax breaks. I'm putting a hotel, on the property over there for
That is
tournaments and things along those lines. So
Good for the hockey rink too.
they're kind of advancing towards that end, but that's something that, you know, we've talked with the group from 716 about our accessibility to it. And it's pretty exciting. It is pretty exciting.
So the Maple Mare Group hasn't grumbled yet about developing that, Mary Ann?
I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
I think
haven't heard anything.
one of the exciting things about it is the indoor track that's proposed in
Yes.
there.
Correct.
Honestly, there was a group years ago, and I
Yes.
worked with
Yep.
not Jeff Hicks, but maybe Tony Day and a couple outdoor groups that wanted to do something with the land north end, some
Yep.
kind of indoor track. That's a big deal.
Our,
So I
our
hope it
indoor
goes-
track team has to travel to Houghton right now, which is
It's the closest indoor
Excessive.
track facility.
In the snow.
Yeah. So we are really excited that they are planning to build it so it can hold Section 6 events.
Yeah.
Possibly even states in the winter. So it's going to be really beneficial for us.
This is private money, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any word on our golf course area, how that's is that going anywhere?
Which golf course?
You know, the one that you,
Westwood?
The
Westwood.
county.
I don't-
Name is this week?
Yeah, whatever it is
It's
this
It's
week.
not in the district, so I don't pay an awful lot of
Okay.
attention.
Yeah, 'cause it's
I
like
don't
right
know.
in our
I don't know.
neighborhood. It's
Yeah,
not, that is
right
not,
over.
it's right in our
Cardinal.
Maple Mere neighborhood. That one is what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
that one? I don't, I thought you were talking about, further down. I don't have enough.
So I really haven't heard
This-
anything.
The county owns it and they're
Right.
gonna put they're gonna fix it up to do a 9-hole course, I believe. I read something about that a couple weeks ago. The executive polling cars did put something in the paper. There was something in the paper. a couple
I don't
weeks ago
know.
about it.
I'll look to find
Yeah,
an
just to
update
find
for
it.
you and let you know. I thought you were talking about
No,
a course
the
further
one
down.
Yeah,
over-
that's I
Further
believe the
down
town
Maple
sold
Road.
that.
Sean Lavin should know all about that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
We'll get an answer for you.
And then when I go to Whole Foods, that's starting to come along. That project over there is
Station
really
12.
Station
starting,
12 is
yeah.
finally moving.
It's starting to move, so,
Which is good for
Lot of-
us.
lot of good
exactly.
things.
It's exciting.
Sorry, we got off track there.
No, it's okay. All right, unfinished business, we have none. So that leads us to our superintendent's report. So Dr. Genestri.
Thank you, Mr. Belanti. I'll be real brief tonight. We have a lot of recognitions that have gone on in the past couple of weeks. It has been, we've had a principal recognition day, bus driver recognition day, food service workers, I said bus drivers, nurses as well. Of course, it's Teacher Appreciation Week this week as well. So over the past couple of weeks, we've had a lot of celebrations in the district of all the people that make Sweet Home so great. So I just want to get it in the record tonight that we appreciate all of those groups, of course, that make our district so great and make it operate so well for nearly 4,000 students each and every day, and that we appreciate all of them. A special shout out too to our teachers who are going through Appreciation Week this week. I want to thank our PTOs, PTA, PTSAs. Not only them, but we've had community organizations, businesses donate to the buildings, treats to teachers as well. And so to our principals, our food service workers, our bus drivers, our nurses, a special shout out and a thank you for all that you do for the students of Sweet Home each and every day. And you deserve to be recognized for all your great efforts. So thank you to all of our groups here that make our district so strong.
That world famous Don Feldman.
And then, he didn't know this, I wasn't on the slide deck, but
Oh,
We're among greatness here
That
tonight,
is
so,
a kick to the self-esteem right there.
this might not have been on the public, presentation until, we just put it on today. But, Don Feldman, deservedly so, has been named the Western New York Association of School Business Officials Business Official of the Year. He will be celebrated on Friday. His daughter is graduating from Carnegie Mellon, so I will be accepting the award on his behalf. I prepared a very long and beautiful speech, I'm sure.
Sure, my
to accept
colleagues
that
in other
award.
districts will appreciate that.
Oh,
Very
yes.
much.
I will not have them laughing at all. So, but no, it is absolutely well deserved. Don has been on the forefront. He does so much more than just manage the finances of the district, transportation, food service, technology, security. There's so much more involved in business officials these days than just the finances of the district. And we're really grateful for Don's leadership here at Sweet Home, but he deserves to be recognized throughout Western New York for all of his efforts, because I know he's a leader of that group as well. He's offering mentoring to other business officials. And there's been a lot of turnover in Western New York with business officials. There aren't many available. There's not, these jobs are high demand and low supply. And, we're very lucky to have Don here and be in a financial position to do a lot of things great for our students. So congratulations, Don. Can't wait to accept the award on your behalf, and very well earned.
Well, we can take that picture down because that is just
Oh, that's a good
reflection
picture.
of
Ah.
but anyway, one of the things, I appreciate that very much. Obviously, I appreciate the support of the board. But most importantly, one of the things that I get to do as the business official of the year, last man standing, is I get to give a scholarship to a graduating senior. And we are going to give a scholarship to Javon Coleman on Friday. Prepares to go off to UB. Wish I could be there to celebrate with you, but I'm going to be celebrating my daughter. We'll be celebrating from afar. It was an easy choice, and I wish you much success. You're going to kill it at UB, and it was an easy choice to select you as a recipient. So I hope it's a little help. It's not much, but I hope it's a little help.
What are you majoring in? Did you pick?
Business and law.
Oh, that works. I
Excellent. So
see.
you can
That's-
take over for him when he.
Business officials, yes.
Oh, there you
Yes.
go.
Tomorrow, if you really want it.
That's right.
Fine.
That's right.
Fine.
Okay, we can. take that.
Congratulations, Don, and
Take a
that's what I
picture.
got for tonight, so.
Just
All
keep
right.
moving.
Thank you.
Did not know that was coming. That's not fair.
So
Fun to
that
meet me
leads
every
us
once in a
to
while.
upcoming events. Obviously, as mentioned, we do have a lot of Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week festivities going on, run by our PTO, PTAs, PTSAs at the buildings. And it seems that, early May is our chorus and concert season. So I know there's a mixed chorus and concert chorale going on right now. We have Maple Mere and Willow Ridge tomorrow, flower sales, special person's flower delivery at Maple Mere, 5th grade panoramic pictures going on tomorrow, Willow Ridge PTO meetings. So just a plethora of stuff. Dollars for Scholars meeting. I believe the freshman class is doing a fundraiser this week for Double Good Popcorn. So if you like Double Good Popcorn and you see a freshman, they're all selling, or a family member of a freshman, they're all selling them. So just in the next coming weeks, again, May 19th would be their district vote here in this room from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay, that leads us to open session number 1 per board policy 1510. This open session is for topics related to tonight's agenda. Is there anyone interested in speaking? All right, so moving on to new business, we'll be voting on the new business next week. As normal, we have our special education and pre-K class placements that are going on.
I'll get
Still
through.
reading?
Still
Yes,
reading.
April, May are the big months.
Months, yeah.
We have our monthly financial reports. bids for health, medical supplies, and athletic and physical education supplies, and our art teachers and general classroom supply bids. Any questions on those? D is our municipal cooperation agreement with RIC One or Risk Operations Centers. This is a vendor management consortium, right? That we.
Yeah, it does, and it allows us to vet any software programs that we use for Ed Law 2D compliance to make sure that we're copacetic with personal identifiable information for kids. So it's often difficult. Before this consortium came on, it was very difficult to kind of work with a vendor to get an Ed Law 2D agreement signed. One of the nice things about it is now this consortium, if we pick a software program that already has an established Ed Law 2D agreement, I can piggyback off of that. So it just makes things a little bit easier and a little bit more expedient, such that we can, if there's a software program that we want to release to our kids, we can do it in a more expedited fashion rather than waiting until we get that agreement in place.
Okay.
Mr. Feldman, we've worked with this in the past too, right?
We have, you guys, it came, it's an annual reappointment kind of thing. We did this last year at the same time.
Okay, we have acceptance of a donation to 2 supply of teacher kits. I believe they're from the Burger King Foundation to Maplemere. Their totals equaling total value of $500 between the 2 kits. We have our school district calendar.
Quick note, I want to thank both of you guys for explaining to me last week the discrepancies on the standard calendar here and how it all was working, because I didn't understand what we were going on. So I appreciate you taking the time after the meeting to explain what the hell it all meant.
So we do have 3 calendars: our district attendance calendar, our district payroll calendar, and our district holiday calendar. And then we have a resolution approving memorandum of agreement between the district and our Service Employees Association, correct? Will that be next week? All right, do we have any questions on A through G? Okay, that leads us to open session number 2. Would anyone like to address the board? You would have 3 minutes. Please state your name, address, relationship to the district. Seeing none, we will move on to personnel. We'll be voting on these personnel appointments next week. We have 1 teaching and administrative and 2 service. Does anyone have any questions or comments on personnel? Okay, seeing none, that leads to the favorite part of our meeting, the adjournment. Can I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week for our voting meeting. Sorry. No, it's there.